Hi, everyone. The Rambam in Hilchot Tefillah, Yud Gimel Halacha Bet, writes that Ezra instituted which parshiot should be read before certain holidays. So, for example, Bamidbar should be read before Shavuot, Nitzavim before Rosh Hashanah, Tzav before Pesach, and then he says that V'etchanan should be read after Tisha B'Av. The Rambam is always very precise, and he establishes a pattern of which parshiot we read before the Chagim. In the case of Tisha B'Av, however, he clearly deviates from the pattern by stating that we read V'etchanan after Tisha B'Av. He just as easily could have kept the list symmetrical and mentioned this week's parsha, Devarim, to be read beforehand. So why does he deviate? Why does the link move us away from Devarim and connect Tisha B'Av to V'etchanan, next week's parsha? So if you look at parashat Devarim, he lists a few locations where Moshe addresses Bnei Yisrael. Eila Dvarim Asher Diber Moshe al Kol Bnei Yisrael. These are the things that Moshe spoke to Bnei Yisrael, Be'ever HaYarden, Bamidbar, Ba'arava, Mulsuf, Bein Paran, Uvein Tofel, V'lavan, V'chetzerot, V'di Zahav. These are all locations. Famously, Rashi points out here that they were all really not literally locations, but subtle hints and allusions to mistakes that Am Yisrael made along their journey. That we worshipped Baal Peor and Arava. We rebelled at the Red Sea. We rejected the Man, Bein Tofel Lavan. That Korach was divisive in Chatzerot, and we worshipped the golden calf in Dizahav. Each one a play on words, but only alluding to sin. According to this read, Moshe, in his farewell address, clearly wanted Am Yisrael to be careful as a nation in the future after he's gone. Moshe, however, only explicitly rebukes Am Yisrael for one crime in this week's parsha, and that's Chet HaMeraglim, the sin of the spies. And so why does Moshe single that out? In truth, Chet HaMeraglim was so bad, it was the rejection of our future. We simply were saying, we don't want what God intends for us. The Meraglim changed the course of history, and it triggered the unraveling of our people. So grave is Chet HaMeraglim that the Gemara in Megillah on Daf Lamed Aleph and Bet quotes a Tana suggesting that we actually read Parshat Shlach, the sin of the Meraglim, Tisha B'Av morning. But we reject that opinion. And instead of reading the Meraglim story, we follow the opinion that we read the section from next week's parsha, V'etchanan, referred to as Ki Tolid Banim. This section also discusses sin in exile, but is not all despair. Instead, it reads that we will make mistakes, we'll go into exile. But it continues with some beautiful psukim of promise. Uvikashtem misham et Adonai Elohecha mitzata. But if you search there in exile for the Lord your God, you'll find him. Vishavta ad Hashem Elokecha v'shamata bekolo. You'll return to Hashem and obey him and listen to him. Ki el rachum Hashem Elokecha. Hashem is merciful and compassionate. He loves us. Ki lo yirpacha v'lo yishchitecha. He'll never fail us and never let us completely perish. V'lo yishkach et brit avotecha yishnish ba'alhem. And he will not forget the covenant which he made with our forefathers. This section acknowledges our mistakes, the suffering of our people, but it also gives us hope that there's a road back and a way home. This section is found in next week's Parsha V'etchanan. This is what we read Tisha B'Av morning because it gives us hope. Sadness, despair, and mourning for our people, or Yerushalayim, just for the sake of mourning, has no place. It has to motivate us and inspire us to do more and to hope for more. The Rav said it so well. Because we remember our past, we know how to live in the present, so we can achieve our future. And perhaps this is why the Rambam, for every other holiday, focuses our attention on the parsha preceding the holiday. But for Tisha B'Av, he focuses our attention on the future, on next week's parsha, V'etchanan, teaching us that on Tisha B'Av, true, we mourn, but it has to lead to action, positivity, and hope. Without those things, we are not truly understanding the message of Tisha B'Av. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom.